So this is the, as some of their fans coined them, the right-wing Avengers, okay? And I've looked and looked and looked and looked and looked, and I could not find a more cringy group of people. Not to mention dangerous. Like driving around in a van screaming Hail Hitler to a Kanye West song. But now you have, think about how extreme the behavior of the group you're in has to be when Andrew Tate, Top G, feels the need to go in interviews and clarify that he's not a Nazi like some of the other people he was with. And went, hey, well, I know they were like doing the Nazi salute and they were listening to this Hail Hitler song, but like, that's not really me. But I also respect their difference of opinion. Insane. So I got to show you this because we already reviewed in a different segment this Nazis Night Out. And I'll remind you just a little bit of like why I'm describing it that way, where all of these extreme right-wing figures, and I'm not blasting all the right wing for the extremists, but extreme right wing figures went out together. Nick Fuentes, who's the neo-Nazi rising star, whatever. This was his first time at a club. Oh, that's literally what Andrew Tate was saying. He was like, I had to go because it was Nick Fuentes' first time at the club. I thought maybe he could get some puss. So we'll look at those clips in a second. But this was the night that we reviewed.
So I became a Nazi, yeah, bitch, I'm the villain. Juice man! Juice man! They don't understand the things I say on Twitter.
So the screaming the lyrics and Myron Gaines there, who, can I just say this? I hate to word it this way. Show this on screen. All the pride of being a horrific fascist Nazi. I mean, does that sound too inflammatory for me to say? He's literally hailing Hitler right now. When do we get to say it? Because they're like, don't say Nazis or you're provoking violence, which I don't want to do ever. But like, when do you get to call someone if not when they're literally hailing Hitler? But he acts like he's such a tough guy, and women need to submit to him, and this is what a guy's guy. And look at me, you can't stop me from hailing Hitler. I did a debate with him. You can go find my reviews of some of those clips. And I'm using this word just because it fits into the context of this. You could not have seen in the debate context a bigger bitch than Myron Gaines. I mean, look, do I look intimidating? No, I agree. But you would have thought that I rhetorically had like a rocket launcher on my shoulder with how much he was submitting to this. No, really, he was very, to use their term, beta in our debate. He's like, barely talked. When I directed a question at him, he's like, I don't know. So I just think now it's time for me to say that, now that he, whatever, Nazi, etc. So then we get to this interview with Andrew Tate on the PPD podcast, where he's like trying to do some damage control because he was going around in a van hailing Hitler, or with people who were doing that. And like I said, it has to be a real bad group for even Andrew Tate to be like, went a little far, a little extreme for me.
When I watched the video, Andrew, with you and them, Tristan looks extremely uncomfortable.
Yeah.
This is Tristan. So someone edited in the clip so you could see how ridiculous Patrick Bet-David's framing of this was. He's like, Tristan looks real uncomfortable. And Tristan's doing this, bump into the song. So they play the song in the van, then they go to a club and play the song again.
Okay. And the way you were smiling, because I saw everyone's texting me. You and I communicate, we have conversations together. You looked extremely uncomfortable as well.
He doesn't look uncomfortable, but he's going to frame it that way after the fact. And hey, I'd prefer you never do the Nazi stuff. But if you find yourself in a situation where you're in a van of people hailing Hitler, well, then tell them to stop. And then if you can't do that, well, then leave the situation. And if you can't do that, don't be smiling and dancing. And if you can't do that, I would prefer that you then go out and clarify that you don't actually support it as he's doing. But don't try to rewrite it like, I knew it was bad in the moment. And then you see Tristan like, woohoo, and then Andrew smiling. Not so fast. And he really, I mean, throughout this interview was getting thumped by these other hosts, to their credit, being like, dude, what are you doing? While you watch this next clip, please do click the subscribe button if you appreciate this show. I appreciate you all greatly. You just click like this, boom, and then you help to grow what we do here.
Are a leader, and they are like looking up to you. So it's not like
think a 20-year-old
you're choosing
crowd,
to be like, yo, I'm in charge of you guys.
This kid shouldn't be in the club. He's 20. That's another conversation.
Yeah.
He's meeting you for the first time. You're his idol.
I understand the point you're making, and you know what? Sneeko has insulted me endless times, especially across the last 4 years. I haven't seen him in years and years and years. But maybe, maybe it's the man code in me. He's insulted me so many times, and I could sit here and throw him under the bus, but it's just not who I am as a person. I want to meet Nick and Clav. It's Clav and Nick who reached out to me. You're in America. We've never met before. Come through. We're with Sneeko. Is that okay? My reply was, Sneeko always has some crybaby issue with me. If he's not going to cry his eyes out, he can come. And he came along, and he made a fucking mess. And I could sit here and blame it all on him. But that's truthfully not, I don't know, that just feels wrong to me. I'm not going to sit here and say who else it was. I'm just going to say I didn't do it. I'm just going to say that I didn't play the song. I don't find the song funny. I didn't think it was appropriate to do. It's someone else's decision. We can drag him up here, and we can ask him why he did it. Perhaps you're right. Perhaps when they said Nick's never been to a club before, I should have thought, Nick's never been to a club before. It's the first time I've ever met him. It might be a funny story. I haven't been in America in a year. You know what?
Oh, by the way, Nick, who's supposed to be like, oh, he's so, what do they all say? Every time they don't want to call him out for his Nazi views, they'll be like, but listen, I don't agree with everything, but he's just so talented. And he's just so charismatic. Well, where'd that charisma go in the club? Because we looked at those clips. He's like, hi, I'm just happy to be here. Wow, there's so many hot guys, girls here. It's funny, Andrew Tate goes, yeah, I mean, it was all Sneeko's fault. But bro code, I'm not going to go around saying that. I'm like, you just said it. You just said it. But the other thing he said was, I don't think the song's funny. I wouldn't have played the song. Really? Because this was you. So you've played the song before in videos. Huh. So if you don't think it's funny, quote unquote, because they'll justify it that way. They'll be like, no, we're not actually hailing Hitler. We're just saying like the wokesters are mad that we can do what you're not allowed to do. It's not literally that we like Hitler. It's just that we're saying we can say we do and get away with it because the woke is dead, right? Like that might, some people justify it that way. It's like a troll because they cancel me. So now I'm doing the most cancelable thing ever to prove you can't cancel me, right? See, look at this. I'm trying to be as good faith as possible. Some would justify it that way. Andrew, though, in the interview goes, I don't find it funny. I do take it seriously, is the subtext to I don't find it funny. Well, then why'd you play it that other time? If it's not something that you're doing as a joke. Interesting. And also, if you don't find people doing the Nazi salute and playing that song hysterical, what was this all about?
My heart goes out to all of you. I'm kind of thinking we should bring the Nazi salute back. Because the people we've been arguing with for the last 4 years have no interest in objective truth. Hail SpaceX!
He just doesn't find it funny, That's just not his space. He just doesn't think that's appropriate. I think here he specifically mentioned let's see what this is.
I didn't play it. I didn't ask him to play it. I didn't dance. I didn't sing. In fact, the only time you see me on there is me storming out of the bus, saying this is ridiculous and leaving. But I know why it was played. It was played because of this. It was played because it gets traction in a world where everybody is bored of everything all of the time. And that's why these young people are encouraged constantly to try and do the most shocking thing possible.
Yeah, that's kind of true. That is kind of true, but what a weird thought, right? It's like, gosh, I'm so bored. Hitler? So bored. Hitler? So bored. Swastika? Kind of a weird impulse I've never had.
Thing possible. You see this not just with this song, you see this on all their streams. They're running people over and doing retarded shit constantly. So I'm not here to make excuses for myself. I'm not here to say it wasn't me. I'm not here
You said that.
to, blame someone else. But it is kind of ridiculous. It does feel a bit unfair that I'm standing in a nightclub. A song comes on that I did not request. A song comes on that I do not dance to. I do not repeat the lyrics to. I just stand there. And then they want to attribute somehow the song playing to me and it all being my fault.
He said, I'm not going to say I didn't do it.
I didn't play it. I didn't ask him to play.
Hey, I did. That's crazy. Okay, this is so fun. Let's just keep watching these clips.
I even saw a clip, I think the Nicholas guy was calling you out in a clip a few weeks ago. I can't believe
Nick who?
Yeah, Sneeko. He was calling you out at a couple things.
Sneeko does loads of clips insulting me all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, I completely understand what you're saying.
But that's okay. I just think they're supposed to do that because if the leader at the top chooses to go here, these guys have to choose to lead, and those who don't follow his lead, they bash him. It's a very normal state of, how the process goes.
Myron's an amazing friend of mine. He's never insulted me to my knowledge. I think Nick Fuentes has said some things negative about me in the past, but now we get along. I think Clav said some negative things about me, but it's the first time I met him. I know Sneeko's said endless negative things about me over and over again because it gets him clicks. Mm-hmm. I landed in Miami. It was the first time to meet Nick and Clav. The guys came along. If you would have told me, Andrew, if you go to the club, a international incident is going to take place, of course I wouldn't have gone.
It's not really, honestly, it's not getting as much coverage as I think he thinks it is, because we all kind of knew. This is so, like I just showed you months ago, you made a video where you're getting in your car and then you play the song. And all of these extreme right wingers now are doing this weird, Hitler. But then some of them go, oh, you're mad about it? I wasn't even being serious. Lol, you're sensitive. Ha. Or Nick is like, what do you mean? Why do I think he's cool? Edits. Dude, young people like edits. That's just a thing about Gen Z. We like edits, and Hitler has cool edits. What? I think we're all just a little bit all right, so you're insane. I guess we know that now. There's not really an international incident when you repeat that again, when you show us again that you're insane. Yeah, we get it. Plus, the only reason I wasn't even going to cover it, because again, I'm like, yeah, you go out with Nick Fuentes, probably Nazi stuff's going to happen. But I thought it was more funny to review the Cringe Fest because they were filming the whole thing for a live stream. And so you get all these conversations they were having, one of the influencers telling the girlfriend of Clav, who's another influencer, that she needs to respect the fact that he's a 10 and she's a 7. It's oh, so weird.
I thought I was at least an 8.
You're not an 8. You're not an 8.
Yeah.
You're a thirsty 7 and ask for validation. And you're sitting in a 10 flat.
That's kind of rude.
That's kind of rude. That's injustice. That's kind of rude. Is it? Don't fuck with my boy.
I thought I was at least.
So the way they talk with each other, and this is my life, baby. What I'm about to say, no hate, I guess, kind of, because then you'd be contradicting because of how many hateful things you say about the homo. But this is very homoerotic. This is very homoerotic. I just want y'all to know. The way that you're oh, Clav's a 10, and then the other guy goes, no, he's an 11. You're sitting in the lap of an 11. Do you know how much I wish I could be sitting in? You're sitting in the lap I should be sitting in. It's jail. So weird. Calm down. Ugh.
They're not all kids. We know Myron's almost 40. Yeah. You're almost 40.
So now we're back to the interview where Andrew Tate's getting reprimanded by the other hosts.
Yep. Tristan's 35. Yep. This ain't kid stuff. So what I think is I actually believe you. You think I'm going to wait for 5 years of working with you, friendship with you, to throw you under the bus last minute? That's not how we roll. But I think Sneeko played the song. Yeah. I think Tristan explicitly told me that Sneeko played the song. I think when you sort of diffuse the situation, they're kids being kids. Myron, who, you know how much time we've spent with Myron.
Yep.
This That ain't no kid stuff.
Well, Myron's not a kid, and he's a really good friend of mine.
I agree.
And Myron's not a kid, you're right. I don't know if Sneeko played the song, Sneeko played the song. I'm telling you from my perspective, and I don't want to make it something...
But how do you feel about that? Because let me ask you a specific question.
Sure.
Do you know how much time I spent with your brother and Justin Waller at 9 o'clock on Sunday? I left at 3 in the morning. Serious conversations, laughs. Of course, we're having Blue Label.
Yeah.
And Tristan in...
Dude, all of these people are so weird. They're all so weird. Like, he just wanted us to know that he was hanging out with friends. Wait, let's see if that's relevant at all to what he's about to say.
And Tristan, in my perspective, is like, dude, I'm done with these people. That's my perspective. I'll let...
Yeah, there wasn't. You didn't need all that. We're hanging out. We're getting to know each other. We're sitting in each other's laps. We're taking baths together. Like, we're having a good time, you see? And that's why I think that you shouldn't have done that.
Let him speak for himself. But he told me a story about your grandfather.
Yep.
Who served in World War II, yes?
Yes.
The American.
Yep.
What would your grandfather say about that? A neo-Nazi symbol. Who fought the Nazis?
Yeah, I understand. And we have to be very, very careful. I understand exactly what you're saying. I agree that is offensive to many people. I totally understand it. And I'm not here to get myself...
It's offensive to Americans.
Well, yes.
Forget about just Jews. American lives died fighting Nazis.
That's true. That's true.
Your grandfather's...
Yeah, the other thing is, when everything's framed as who it's offending, it's like, it's not really about who it's offending. That's a part of it. It's about what you're saying about yourself. Like, why are you're defending, he's still defending Myron. Why do you like people who like Hitler? Friends don't let friends like Hitler. But it's like, whoa, that's more what it's about. Not because people's fifis are going to get hurt. Because I like hanging around people who stand strong for principles that I believe in. And you couldn't, with a quick gesture, depict more clearly a complete diametrical opposition to said principles than the Nazi salute. That's what it's about. Not like, well, somebody's going to get their feelings hurt. And you don't want to offend. Because when they hear offend, they're like, everyone gets offended too easy. It's about, who are you? What do you stand for? And who are you willing to associate with? But the funny thing is, I shouldn't be saying this to Andrew Tate. Like, you stand for crap. You're not going to... It's weird that even this is a controversy for him. I thought he already was down with all that. So, who knows? One other just random miscellaneous clip from this interview. He says... I guess he supports Trump not releasing the Epstein files. Maybe because of Andrew Tate's past.
Why is he doing a cover-up of Epstein? I'll tell you all why. And I was right. I said whether you like it or not, whether Epstein did wrong things or not, you cannot lock up or investigate or publicly trial the most powerful, rich people in this nation. You can't take hedge fund managers and drag them to jail over something that might have happened in 1996. Your country implodes. Trump knows that. He knows he can't destroy his oligarchy.
Yeah, so he's an accused trafficker. Andrew Tate is. So maybe that's more what he means. What do you mean you just can't go around putting powerful people in prison? Yes, you can. You actually can. Now, he says for what they might have done. Well, if it's what they might have done, then they wouldn't go to prison. It's if you, beyond a reasonable doubt, right, know that somebody did something. And we can only know if there's more people that should be looked into to potentially build a case like that if you have transparency.